everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Star Quality. Today, we are getting into the lovely Gemini new moon we are having. This is going to be both video and audio. So, if you're listening on the audio only platforms, hello, that is all good. Please rate and subscribe if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other platform. If you're here on the Substack app, thank you. And you might want to watch this one on video because I'm going to be screen sharing the chart of the new moon. So that might, you might want to see the visual, but all good. I'm going to very, in Gemini fashion, over explain all the positions of the chart. So you will be able to follow along. And if you're listening right now and you are not a third space member, which is a paid supporter of the Stevie's World Substack, that means this is a teaser. This is a preview. So you're going to get a little chunk of this episode. And if you want to keep listening, please consider supporting the Substack and me. This new moon is just simply stunning. There is so much good energy happening with this new moon. There's some checks and balances, but overall, there's a lot of positivity happening, and that is because of Venus, which we're going to get into. When I was thinking of just the general theme of this new moon in Gemini, the phrase that keeps coming to mind, that keeps coming up in my conversations with friends, is what if we made our own heaven on earth? What if we built paradise? What if we took the reins on creating the world that we really want to see and also the one that we just envision for everyone to share? Now, I don't this could sound like toxic positivity, which is what I'm trying to divide from. Like, how do we separate heaven on earth and making our own heaven on earth with this idea of toxic positivity? Because that is valid. We can't just think that everything is going to be good and that we don't have to do any work in order to create that. I think that's the difference between creating our own heaven here on earth and creating the world, the communities, the groups, the accountability that we want to see. I think what Gemini energy does so good is connect people and is interested in other people. And this is why I bitch and complain all the time about how the United States, this is a very American complaint. So to my international listeners, thank you for listening. And also, sorry to rant about this country yet again, but we don't have high speed trains because they don't want us to meet each other. Do you know what I mean? When you meet someone you've had preconceived ideas about or judgments or whatever preconceived notions, when you meet them, it changes everything. And I think that that's what the beautiful power of Gemini is yes, it can tend towards gossipy energy. Yes, on the low end of Gemini, we can have a lot of anxiety and a lot of busy mind and nervous system and all that. But on the flip, it's if Gemini is hearing so much about something that they've never heard before, if you're oh my God, blueberries are so gross. They're so gross. I hate them. Have you heard of them? Hate blueberries. Gemini's gonna be can I try one? Gemini is going to extend that mercurial curiosity, right? And they'll either be oh my God, you're so right, or what the fuck are you talking about? And also, it's all subjective. So can we really, overarchingly say fuck blueberries? No. And blueberries are great, and they're really great for your memory, which I feel is clutch for my Gemini people, since the beauty of Gemini is they can be so present in the moment, but then they can also have this flighty fleetiness. So I think whatever can help them with both their short-term and long-term memory. So I feel like a friend told me long ago, if you eat 10 blueberries a day, your memory gets good. That sounded really smart. Your memory will get real good if you eat 10 blueberries a day. I am not a doctor. I have not even looked up this fact, but I just remember hearing this long ago. Shout out if you've also heard the myths about blueberries and that they support your brain. Same with lion's. I do know lion's mane mushroom does support the old noggin. So I think I'm just thinking a lot about the brain. I'm thinking a lot about the power of what we can create when we put our brains, minds, body, heart, hello Venus, in action. And I think this new moon is it's just such an invite to just do it already. It's just like, if you've been thinking, if it's just top of mind, if it's a thing that gets your attention right away, and that's something, that's information. That's like important information. So, yeah, I'm going to pull up the chart in just a second, but we are going to be experiencing this new moon on June 6th, 2024 at 5:37 a.m. Pacific time. The chart I'm going to be sharing is set from Los Angeles, so that rising is going to be different depending on where you're located, but um, all the planets are going to be in their same positions. They're just going to be in different parts of our site specific chart, but don't worry too much about that. Okay, here is our new moon chart. Um, I mean, look at that. Look at that. I'm zooming in on this sun moon conjunction, which of course that's when we have the new moon. But do you see her? Do you see her right at the same degree? We have Venus. So we have Venus in Gemini really present and strong in this new moon chart. And what that offers us, what that says is that matters related to Venus are going to be really amplified with this new moon. I've been saying this all freaking Gemini season. This Gemini season is truly for lovers. It's been like, I think Gemini just doesn't get the rap it deserves for love. And I think I talked about this maybe in the weekly forecast, but Gemini is the lover's tarot card. It is about seeing ourselves in another. And I think that this is just such a wonderful signal of inviting in those connections that really mean something to us. Now, again, this can be romantic. Maybe this is moving your relationship to a next step, or maybe, it's, I think Gemini too, while I just like hyped up all the love dove stuff, it's also about getting right with self, because the twins, this is why I love Geminis. They can hang out with themselves all day and they are not bored, because they have like an entertainment system in their own mind. Like, a Gemini is never alone. There's always one other person with them. And I think that that's what's so like just a great reminder about Gemini is like, if you're doing the things you love, if you're like into, they always have like hobbies and crafts. They're great songwriters. Like, they're just always getting into what's been living in their mind. And I think if the folks you've been partnering with, whether that's romantic, creative, etc., are not doing it for you, I do think that there is this real permission to release, because we're getting some nodal activations as well. This symbol up here is our north node in Aries. Our south node is in Libra. This is where we have the eclipses every year. And the nodes also are linked to our karmic destiny. So when you have permission, like, all systems go with a sextile to this Aries north node, which does, let me explain the trine to the south node, and I think this will make sense for the Aries north node sextile. Like, the releasing should be fairly easy. When we have a trine, that's just like, it kind of just works. It kind of just goes with the flow. There's not like much effort that has to happen there. It could just be like a real like, yep. Like, the other person might be in agreement too. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might be having this idea like, oh, should I do this or say this thing? And the other side of that coin might be like, oh, I was thinking the same thing. And then here's the thing, is when you release whatever it is that isn't serving, it's up to only us to then build that new world. So I think that there's this real, and Mercury, it's not like in that tight, uber on each other tight 16-degree flush conjunction that we have with the sun and moon, but it's present and it's in its home sign too. So that also is very all systems go with communicating it is and what we really need. Venus, of course, is all this love and money and things like that, but it's really at the end of the day our core values and the things that we align with. And I think if there's been any space in our life where we're just not feeling like, I don't know, like, yeah, this job ain't me. And it doesn't mean you have to go quit your job. I'll never tell anyone to do that, especially in this economy. But what it could mean is maybe instead of maybe taking away that mental energy, the job, let's use this as a fake example. If your job has been like, and your coworkers and all these people have been really straining and stressing on you, actually it works really well for this LA chart because we have Saturn in the 10th. where can we put some boundaries and reinvest that mental energy? Because look, Gemini can spin on shit. Gemini can live in its own mind and stay there and like forget sometimes about like earthly real things. So I think that there's a real, yeah, a real invite to clear your head, and then also it's like literally and clearing your space. Maybe it's cleaning out some stuff, maybe it's like updating your look or whatever. There's just like a real visual representation. And I think this is a good reminder too, especially since, I'm running an online business. A lot of people I know business is online or uses social media, and we're all feeling like, especially Instagram, like the shadow banness, they like hide likes. Oh my God, I only got 30 or I only got whatever. Here, let me use a real life story because maybe this will like do something. Maybe you need to hear this. And I've been feeling that too. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, if I only show a picture of my ass and boobs, like 400 easy, 400 easy likes. But then if you like promote your work or your writing or something that's like really of your heart and soul, like it gets buried because like that's not what the feed likes, right? And I think this is just a reminder to, let's say you have a business online, to post from joy and to we're all dealing with that, you know what I mean? Like I hid my likes once on this one post, and my sweet loving husband was like, why did you hide the likes? He's such a Leo. And I was like, well, because I didn't do as good as these other one. He's like, but we're all experiencing that, so like just show it. And I was like, damn, you're right. And then I did, and then I got more because I think, I don't know, like I don't, again, I'm not like an algorithm whisperer. This is not like how to hack the system. Like if I knew, I would tell you, and if I knew, I'd be doing it. But I think that this is the right, like we are here to love what we do. We're here to love what we do, and we're not going to let this platform determine our worth of what we think is sharing and what we think is special to us and what we want people to see. Because I think a good reminder is to zoom out and see it as a whole work, a whole body, a portfolio, if you will, like going back into like an art thesis thing, right? With this Venus energy. Like I want to be able to go, like I'm trying to hire a tarot person for this event. I want to go to your page and just know you do this. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't care how many likes you have on this one thing. Like I just want to see who you are and like what story you're telling. And like I'm going to like, I keep doing like this hand zoom out motion, but that it is because I think Gemini gets in so deep on the little stuff. And does this look right? And like, I was watching DVD commentary last night and I have to finish it because I fell asleep. Classic me. But I was watching DVD commentary of Richard Linklater going over Dazed and Confused, just like talking through the movie. And like, there was one scene where I think it's like the first time we meet Matthew McConaughey, and he's going into like the arcade thing, and Richard Linklater's like, "Oh my God, that dipshit extra is like playing with the foosball," and I had to tell him back in the 70s, like we took foosball really seriously. Just don't keep spinning it. And I'm telling you, this scene was like half a second long, like, and no one would have noticed it. But it was just so funny to hear this like hyperfixation thing that he still has from like all these years since that movie's been made. I mean, classic movie. If you haven't seen Dazed and Confused, please watch it. Great summertime movie. Actually, it is a Gemini season movie because it's on the last day of high school, May 28th, 1976. Yeah, because it's the like centennial that year at 1:05 p.m. They give a time because it was his homage to Psycho, I think he said. But maybe I should pull up that chart. But yeah, it's a Gemini movie, so worth watching. And then also, if you're like me and most people who've probably seen it 600 million times because it's a classic, highly recommend watching it with the DVD commentary. It is on Criterion Channel, so check that out. Okay, let's get into the Saturn of this all, because Saturn is making a tense aspect to the Sun, Moon, Venus conjunction that we have here. Saturn, as we know, with Saturn return energy, Saturn in general, Saturn is our taskmaster, our timekeeper. It's like, okay, but what are we actually doing? So I know I just went into like dreams and vision and building heaven and doing this, but then we actually have to build it.